My childhood best friend at work completely iced me out and didn't invite me to her wedding. One of my colleagues at work, Ava, 35F, has been a close friend of mine for basically my whole life. We grew up on the same street, went to the same schools, and when I graduated from university and desperately needed a job, she told me about a position at her company, and I landed the job. We've been working together for many years now. It's a small company and very much male-dominated, so once we started working together, we became even closer. We'd eat lunch together every day, constantly pop by each other's desks to chat, and everyone at work basically saw us as joined at the hip. About a year ago, Ava got engaged to her long-term boyfriend, and I was honestly so happy for her. She'd been through a rough patch a couple years back. She lost two close relatives in quick succession, and I did everything I could to support her during the darkest points of her grief. She would come and cry to me every day for weeks, and I always made sure she knew I was there to listen. Plus, I voluntarily took on about a third of her workload so she could take days off and not have to stress about her piling duties. So seeing her bounce back, always smiling and full of excitement, was a joy. Ever since she got engaged, she's been talking non-stop about the wedding, especially when we'd have lunch. I probably know every little detail by now. When she booked the wedding venue, she was bursting with excitement, but weirdly wouldn't tell me where it was, just that it'll be a surprise when the invitations go out. Well, the wedding is in 2 weeks, and I've moved past checking my mailbox for an invitation. I know when she sent all the invites out because she told me about it in detail, and every day she showed me the gifts people have started buying from her registry. It sounds silly, but the more I think about it, the more hurt I feel by being excluded. It's a big wedding. They've invited people from work I didn't even know she was closer to than me. She's never brought up why I'm not invited, and at this point, it feels too awkward to ask. It's a real slap in the face, because I truly believed we were close, and now I'm seeing that maybe I was wrong. Since all this, I've started seriously questioning our friendship, wondering if she actually cares about me at all. I can easily list 100 times I've helped her, listened to her vent, defended her in office squabbles. Even with small things, if someone brings cake and she's out, I'd always save her a slice. But I honestly can't remember a single time she did something nice for me in return. Now when we talk, I've realized she never actually listens to me. I finish a sentence, and she just keeps going with her own story, as if I was never speaking at all. If our conversation turns to me or what I'm up to, she has nothing to contribute, just a token nod, and then right back to herself. It's really sinking in that she probably doesn't care about me, just likes having someone to talk at, and it wouldn't matter who that person is. After investing years into this friendship, realizing this has cut me deep, I honestly feel used. Now work feels lonely. I barely have anyone else I'm close with there. I stopped eating lunch with her, and if she tries to chat, I politely keep it short and go back to work. She doesn't even seem to notice. I still want only good things for Ava, and I'm glad that things have turned around for her and that she's happy, but I feel lost. Am I being too sensitive just because I'm hurt? Do I even have a right to feel hurt, given that guest lists are limited and someone's always left out? At the same time, I don't know how I'd ever get past this, even if I wanted to. Has anyone else ever experienced something like this? Am I blowing things out of proportion? Should I just let time pass and see how I feel later? Edit 1. Just clarifying some things that keep coming up. 1. Ava hand-delivered all the other work invitations, so mine definitely didn't get lost in the mail. 2. I haven't brought it up with her, because I'm honestly terrible at confrontation and terrified of uncomfortable conversations. 3. I did invite Ava to my own wedding several years ago, but maybe to her, things have just changed since then. Edit 2. Wow, this got way more attention than I ever expected, and my first gold. Thanks, kind stranger. I've read every single comment, and I really, really appreciate all the advice. You've all given me a lot to think about. Opinions are pretty split between confronting her about the wedding or just letting it go. I definitely need to make sure it's not just a mistake, but as for tracking down the real reason for not being invited, I'm still undecided. I'll need to think on it some more. As for the friendship overall, I'm not going to rush into deciding that it's over. I'm going to try to set aside my hurt and observe more. Maybe I'm right, that it's always been one-sided, and if so, that's a life lesson I needed. If it's worth salvaging, I'll deal with that as best I can. One major thing so many of you have pointed out is my non-confrontational approach to relationships. Some comments were tough to read, but only because they're absolutely true. I really do avoid hard conversations to my own detriment. I've dropped friendships before when I felt hurt, but was never able to say anything. and that's not fair to anyone. When uncomfortable matters come up, I basically panic, dry mouth, can't string a sentence together. If it's so bad I can't even ask a good friend a simple question, then I can't ignore this anymore. I need to work on it. Thank you for helping me realize how real this problem is. I'm determined to get better at it, and I'll post an update once things unfold. Again, thank you all so much. Update. It took a few days to figure out how to approach this, but yesterday I had lunch with Ava and brought it up. I started by asking, "So, you've sent all your invitations out now?" She immediately looked panicked, and I could tell she didn't want to go there. She confirmed, and I followed by asking if she could finally show me the venue. She showed me the venue's website, photos, and walked me through all the layout, flowers, decorations, the whole bit. It was a classy country hotel with lovely gardens, but honestly, the secrecy around it made no sense. I prodded a bit more and asked who from work was on her guest list. She named names, a list that didn't include me. I just told her I'd love to see pictures after, to see how it all comes together. She didn't correct me and say, "What do you mean? You'll be there." So that made it crystal clear this wasn't a mistake. She seemed extremely relieved when I changed topics to her honeymoon. That was honestly all I needed. I'm not invited. After thinking it over, I decided not to ask why, for 3 reasons. First, the reason's already pretty clear. She doesn't consider us more than coworkers, and I clearly overestimated our friendship. There have been other theories, jealous husband, or associating me with a painful time in her life. But honestly, knowing her and our history, that doesn't track. Honestly, I don't get why she was so secretive about the wedding with someone she never intended to invite, or why she couldn't just explain. But whatever. The last thing I want is to make work more awkward by pushing for a reason. Then I'd either look needy or unprofessional, or risk her talking about it behind my back to colleagues. It's easier for me emotionally to just deal with my feelings quietly. It's her once-in-a-lifetime moment, and I don't want to be the one to drag her down. She should just enjoy her special day, make great memories, and I won't get in the way. Truth is, not being invited was never really the issue for me. It hurt much more to come to terms with the fact that I'd misread our whole friendship and felt foolish for pouring so much into it. But in the end, she was never obligated to be my friend. Working through this and writing it out here really helped. By the time I went back to work on Monday, I felt much calmer and less caught up in my emotions. Looking back, Ava has always been self-centered and entitled. Being a bride just made it more obvious, but it's always been in the background. Besides helping me get my job, which I'm grateful for, she's never actually given back. Never talked me through a problem, never said yes if I asked for help, even though I was always willing to help her. She's had office enemies too, and even knowing what made others dislike her, I defended her anyway. But with some distance, I can see she's just not a nice person. She hasn't noticed or doesn't care that I've withdrawn, so I'll just keep it that way. If someday she asks or tries to rekindle the friendship, that's when I'll be honest. If not, we'll just drift further apart, and that's probably for the best. Losing a friend is sad, and it'll take time for me to move on and adjust. But I have genuine friends elsewhere and good colleagues to get to know better now. The main thing I'm taking away from this, and what posting here really drove home, is that I must work on my fear of confrontation. If I can learn to assert myself in the moment, things won't snowball until they become a huge problem. I also need to figure out how to have tough conversations without falling apart inside. That's not only distressing, it undermines what I'm trying to say. I've bought a couple books on assertiveness, and I'm looking into finding a coach or doing a few therapy sessions. I want to stop hurting people by withdrawing and bottling things up. This has become important for me now. So honestly, thank you for pointing it out. Also, thanks for helping me see the real one-sidedness of this friendship. I've always listened to others' problems and attracted people who need to vent, but never realized until now that some of these relationships were deeply unbalanced. In the days since, I've looked at my other friendships, checking if anyone else is using me this way or if I've missed being there for someone myself. I do have some boundaries I need to set, and one friendship I need to start giving back to. I've learned a lot about how to maintain healthy connections, and I really appreciate that. Edit, books people keep asking about. Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. When I Say No, I Feel Guilty by Manuel J. Smith. Why Men Love Bitches by Sherry Argov. Final update. It's now been over 4 years since I wrote my original post. Every now and then, I'd get someone asking for an update. But after so much time, I never thought I'd do it, until yesterday, when my story ended up in a YouTube video and I suddenly got a rush of messages. So here's how things turned out. Ava and I still work at the same company. She's had 2 children since, taking a year of maternity leave for each, so she hasn't really been around a lot. At first, I avoided her at the office. If I'm being honest, I was giving her the cold shoulder out of hurt and wanting to get back at her in my own passive way. Not a great look, but the reality is, I don't think she ever even noticed. Then 2020 happened. Work from home, maternity leave again, and by the time we shared an office again, the whole wedding thing was old news. Our current relationship is friendly. I hold no resentment, but I accept what we are now. I don't overinvest and I don't expect close friendship, just friendly chit-chat. In the meantime, the company has grown and I've built a real circle of work friends, people I have lunch with, go out with on Fridays, and spend some weekends together. One of these friends, Megan, 29 female, got married 4 months ago. Not only did she invite me to her wedding and her bachelorette party, but I was also on the photographer's list for official pictures with all her closest work friends. After a few drinks, she gave me a big hug and told me how happy she was that I came. Another friend recently got engaged. Her wedding's a while away, but I've already got a verbal invite. As for Ava, she's got another work confidant now. When she needs to vent or has a rough day, she goes to someone else. I honestly don't mind, because it was always an emotional drain for me. As far as the doormat thing, I've really grown as a person. For one, caring less is a big perk of getting older. Turning 30 was great for my self-esteem and inner peace. Second, I got more confident. I used to desperately avoid letting people down, overcompensating all the time. But through meeting more people who genuinely liked me, I became comfortable being myself. That confidence let me start speaking up more. At first, about little things, then gradually bigger stuff. Once nothing bad happened, it got easier. I could voice things without panicking about losing friends. There's still no major drama in my life, but if there was, I'm confident I could handle it. Since some of you have asked for advice, here's what I'd share from everything I've taken away. 1. Healthy friendships are balanced. If you look back and see it's always you giving and hardly taking, or vice versa, address it. Who reaches out first? Who listens the most? Who would be there if you were in trouble? What's the dynamic when someone's having a hard time? It's normal for things to fluctuate, but over the long run, things should balance out. 2. Not every friendship is forever or super deep. Some are casual, some only last a while, some fade in and out. Don't expect every friend to be a life partner, and don't discount the value of casual, fun connections. They're easy to enjoy and aren't painful to lose. 3. Don't give everything of yourself to everyone. Choose wisely who deserves it. The people you trust and love most are special, so invest in them. If you're mourning the loss of a friend who actually wasn't one, I promise you're not alone. It sucks, but time helps and real friends can be found around the corner. Take care of yourselves. That's it for this story. This story is a striking example of how dynamics can shift when a long friendship is not as mutual as it appears, and how necessary self-reflection and boundary setting are for emotional health in adult life. Experiences like these can shape our approach to relationships and push us toward greater self-understanding. Here is a question for you. Have you ever realized too late that you were investing more into a friendship than the other person? And how did you move forward after that? Let's talk in the comments.